Well, when I was a little boy sitting on my mama's...
Hello, welcome to Going Deeper. My name is Marcie Sclove, and we are embarking on part 2 of my interview with John Bechtold and a student of his, Aviva Weinbaum. They are here from the Amherst Regional High School Theater Department because they are receiving a Sammy Award at the annual Sammys that will be happening on April 26th. This is an award ceremony for the Jones Library. It's a wonderful event, and you'll see these folks. Are you going to be there too, Aviva?
I actually won't be there. We have a student-produced play going up
that same night? Oh, no. Yeah. That's terrible. I'll start with this because I was thinking earlier today how much fun it would be to prepare whatever speech you're going to give to the Sammys. Because, it's an opportunity. You could do this whole immersive theater thing and have people from the audience get involved in some way. You could just make it, shine in some way. But I'm sorry that's happening. It's bad timing.
Or great advertising. Take your pick.
There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah. So people who don't go opening night can come later. All right, well, Aviva, let's start with you since we've heard from John already in part 1. What brought you to the theater department, and, what kind of seeds were planted in your childhood or whatever that got you so interested?
Yeah, I was basically an actor my whole life. I started acting in theater productions in elementary school. I remember that there was a group called the Missoula Children's Theater that comes to town every year. Huh. And they are here for 1 week, and Monday they hold auditions, and Saturday there are 2 performances. So I remember doing that for a bunch of years. I was in a youth chorus for a number of years. And then I got to the high school, and my freshman year, the musical was Hairspray, which was my favorite musical of all time.
I saw that one.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I really wanted to act in it, but then some of my friends convinced me to do a winter sport, so I couldn't act. But then the same friends in the sport were working on building sets for the show, and that was at night. So I got involved in tech my freshman year. I loved it. It was an amazing experience, and so I kept on doing that. And then my junior year, I became assistant stage manager, and now I'm stage manager.
Wow. Okay, so what sport?
It was Nordic skiing.
Nordic skiing. And it sounds like you were interested in the acting aspects, but now you're doing the stage management. Do you ever act in the plays?
That's, yeah, actually
They're laughing. Why are you laughing?
I've had cameos in the past 2 musicals, even though I'm backstage doing my stage managing thing.
Now, why is that?
So last year in Anything Goes, we had a sailor who was one of the most important sailor people, and he was in all of the dances. And then the week of the production, he broke his elbow, or he got an injury playing sports, and it was late one night when we got the call, and I was the only one there, and the choreographer was like, Aviva, you have to step in. Oh. So I learned all the dances and went on stage. And then this year, Zach and I had a little skit in the beginning of the musical where we had to bring out a list of names, and then my headset cord was too short, and so then he had to come and help me. It was a whole thing. So
really
we are
funny.
Backstage, but we get our moment on stage.
That's great. That's great. Integrating the front and the back.
Yeah.
It's important. So in part 1, we were talking about some of the specific ways that you all are involved, both nationally, in fact, with the Ghostlight Project, and also, your interest in immersive theater. Aviva, what do you want to add to that conversation about those 2 topics?
Yeah, I think that with the Ghostlight, it's really important that we're part of the whole national
Yeah.
movement, and that's really powerful, but it's also just such a important part of our community. When we put up the Ghostlight, we had this beautiful ceremony where everyone from the theater company came, and some people said a few words about like what our community means to them. So we have the national contacts, but at the same time, our school's community and like the broader Amherst community who comes to the shows, it's such a wonderful place and such like a safe community where everyone can be a part of it.
Wow, that's really important.
Yeah.
John, can you say again what that is on the national level and also just in terms of your own program?
Sure. The Ghostlight Project is this national initiative to have professional theaters and non-professional theaters step up and take active and visible roles in social justice work in their programming and how they produce work and work within their own communities. So for us, we joined as a high school because we felt like that work needed to live at a local level, and we were interested in finding ways of doing more of it ourselves. I think we have our own places to grow, and is a great way to hitch our wagons to something while also building in an implicit charge for ourselves on a regular basis to take on this work.
So are there many high school theater programs involved in the national project?
Not many. At the time that I last checked, which was it was about sometime in February of the year when most of the alliances have been made, we were the only high school in the state so far. I bet others have joined, but it's largely professional theaters that have joined it.
And when I hear you say, you know, that it sort of pushes you as a theater department, like what are some of the either the actual shows that you've done or ways that you're thinking about it in terms of the social justice aspect?
Well, I think one important thing is that it is charging us to be responsive to immediate or contemporary kind of things. So the Parkland shooting is a perfect example of that. We knew that that was work that was part and parcel of what we would set out to do here. So some of it is in response to, certainly.
So say more about, that's a play that you're going to be performing.
Sure. So this is a production that will actually have two different roles in. One is to have high school students involved in this professional reading of it happening in Northampton on the 20th of April. But then we are also planning a staged reading of our own actors at our own school as a daytime assembly for other students and classes to attend and hear this play being read.
Oh, so that's excellent. It's going to be for all the students, during the day.
Right.
Wow. Have you found, did you all do a walkout or anything? You did?
Yeah, we did.
Was it well attended?
Yeah, a good portion of the school walked out. We did a 17-minute walkout in the parking lot of the school, and then students who wanted to walked through the town to the common where we had more speakers.
Oh, wow.
And then we walked back.
Where in the social justice world is your Ghostlight Project taking you?
It's a great question. I think part of it is an early answer because we joined it last year and then I was away all fall.
It's evolving still.
Yeah. So I think this run with Lauren Gunderson's play is one of our first official tests of it.
Okay.
I do think the other place where it really lives is in our internal work as a group to be, as Zach was saying earlier, as inclusive and as inviting to as many students around the school as possible. I don't think we yet reflect the demographics of the school, but I would say overall that the shows that we do and the work that we do pulls in a broader range of students than any other activity that I could point to at the school.
Okay,
so I think we're headed in the
good.
right direction, but we still have our own work to take on.
I can imagine another population that is hard to draw in would be the students who have English as their second language.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be tricky.
There's actually, I'm glad you brought that up, and there's nothing to kind of name or announce, but there's actually, there have been a few conversations between me and the ELL teachers about developing an audio-based project about their stories and their work and their sense of invisibility or visibility in the school. One hang-up we've had, though, is the sense of how much attention do we want to bring to students, especially if their citizenship is in question. So, but we're trying to pursue and answer those questions and think about it within the level of the school itself.
Yeah, these are hard times, very challenging. I run a conversation circle at the Jones Library, and it's just so interesting and rich, where everybody comes from and all the different perspectives that you hear. That's really something. And why, what elementary school did you go to?
I went to Wildwood.
You went to Wildwood, okay. And why did you choose to stay at Amherst Regional High instead of going to Pvpa if you were already inclined toward theater?
I think that...
Did you think about it at all?
No.
Yeah.
My whole family is a strong supporter of the public schools.
Yeah.
And every year for the musical, we put on a show for the 6th graders where we show them the first half. And that, when I went as a 6th grader, it really inspired me. And it showed me that the high school is an amazing theater company.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the whole performing arts scene at the high school is really amazing and can probably rival Pvpa in a lot of ways.
Right.
Yeah, so I didn't have to go out of the district to find performing arts.
So talk a little bit about the whole performing arts department. The theater department is one aspect of that. What else is there in that?
We are comprised of theater, instrumental music, vocal music, and dance. And
how many faculty do you have?
we're a faculty of 6, and we work across a pretty long range of projects, concerts, classes. So one thing that we do, I think, pretty well is mix curricular in-school classes and then out-of-school performance work and opportunities for
And
that.
is that how you draw some of your students to be part of the performance, from the classroom to the performances?
Absolutely, and that's one of the goals of some of those classes is to give this kind of safe, approachable space to try something else out. Every year there's several students that take an acting class or a stagecraft class and are suddenly backstage or on stage for shows, and that happens in music and dance as well.
Yeah. So do you have any memories of sort of memorable faux pas or great moments or anything like that you'd like to share?
I have so many amazing memories of all of the shows that I've worked on, and just seeing from the first days, setting up the most basic platforms to seeing at the end a 3-story set with actors all in it. I feel like those are my most vivid memories, is just the transformation from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I definitely have a lot of memories from this fall when Bechtold was gone, and a lot of memories from just having to figure things out.
Yeah.
But then it ended up great.
Such great experience.
Yeah.
Well, I have one I'll share. I went to see the Glass Menagerie at the Williamstown Theater. This was a long time ago with Joanne Woodward and Karen Allen. And we had very good seats up front. And there was this moment where Joanne Woodward, who's the mother, is helping dress her daughter for the evening. The other guy's going to come to dinner. And she's putting things in her bra, like a falsie was what we used to call it. And it fell on the floor and rolled off the stage. And the two of them just broke their performance. They cracked up, and then they brought it all back together. And we felt like we had seen something very memorable. And the way they handled it was just so great, so professional.
That's half the fun of live theater, is that there's always that element of you never quite know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think we embrace that a whole lot. I think that goes back to the immersive theater work. I think it goes to how we design and just talk about our productions. There's a lot of counterbalance nowadays against live events. There's so much that can be found or done on a screen. Right. And that only makes the moments when you are at something so live all the more valuable and real. I think that's also why we've taken a special interest in immersive work, because that just heightens that even further.
That's really cool. What are some of your highlights, memorably speaking?
Sure. I think a lot of it is around the amount of work that we create ourselves. We certainly build, and we do about 6 productions a year, and a lot of them are published titles, of course, but we always have at least 2 or 3 things that we made ourselves. So I think a lot of my strongest memories come from something that we built from the ground up, whether it was our first immersive production was a collaboration with Double Edge Theater in 2010. We devised a piece that took place all across their farm in Ashfield, and drove up with a bunch of huge moving trucks and installed this whole thing and went at it.
Yeah.
And after that, we kind of sprang forward and kind of realized we can make almost anything we want because we've got the energy to do it. And
would you say, are they on, the edge of immersive theater, double-edge theater?
Not on the edge in the sense that they're trying to push into it very far. I think they've been around a little bit longer than the kind of big surge of immersive theater that came in. Okay. Most of their work, not quite all, still leaves the audience in kind of an audience space, and not in the space.
It does follow around, but
so it's a close cousin too. But I suspect that their aims are not quite the same.
Yeah, great. Well, I am really happy you all came in. I'm looking forward to hearing what you say at the Sammys. Be really fun to do something creative there. And if you don't, that's fine too. And I think that as a town, we should just all have it in our heads to support you more, that we should come to see your shows.
We would love that.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
You.
And thanks also to Amherst Media for the great interns and the staff who put these shows together. See you next time on Going Deeper.
Well, when I was a little boy sitting on my mama's knee, she said, son, let me tell you about that bad stagger lee. She said, son, he was a bad man, Lord, the baddest man I know. Well, he killed Billy Lions with a blue steel